It is such an incredible, huge lie that you should be skeptical of this person. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. If you need coaching, I'd love to work with you. Check out the link down below. All right, it's getting dark here. It is Wednesday, close to sundown, but I got inspired to make a video. I posted on social media today about lengthened partials, and they're all the rage, right? They're all the science-based rage, right? And I hate to toss out science-based because it does make me laugh because it's nonsense. We're kind of, we go through these phases in lifting where it's one stream of bullshit after another. We continue to chase some magic bullshit down a rabbit trail. And I want to make the video to remind you guys to really try to abstain from this type of thing. There are certain tools we can add to our training that have value, right? And we have to be scientific about what we add, and we have to be reasonable about what we chase. But this industry we're in, this muscle building, strength building industry, is really good at wasting our time. Really good at wasting our time, and nothing aggravates me more than to see time wasted, your time wasted. As a coach, as somebody that does YouTube, as somebody that does Instagram, and I try to help people, and I'm always make myself accessible for questions. I get hundreds of questions a week, literally, and a huge majority of them are usually on the bullshit of the week or the bullshit of the month. Hey, Mike Mentzer's heavy duty. What do you think? What do you think about Mike Mentzer's heavy duty? Right? Hey, what do you think about terkestrone? What do you think about terkestrone? Terkestrone. Everybody's running off chasing the magic, right? And recently it's long-length partials. What do you think about long-length partials? They're scientific. They're scientific. They're science-based. They're scientific. And here we are chasing this stuff endlessly, distracting us from the 99%. And this is where we get into trouble. We need to continue to focus on the 99%. This is a message that I built this channel on. This is a message I will die preaching and teaching over and over again. Now, what are the basics? The basics are obviously consistency, getting in the gym, no fucking excuses, some form of progressive overload, obviously getting stronger over time, but we don't chase numbers, we chase hard training, and numbers come from that. So that's kind of the outcropping of hard training is progressive overload. We need consistent, reasonable nutrition that allows us to reach our goals. In some form, we're gonna have to bulk eventually, doing wisely constructed bulk and cut cycles. We need a reasonable exercise selection, a quality grouping of exercises for each body part that challenges you. And those are really the pillars of success. We need to be patient. We can't panic when we get into this intermediate stage that, our gains are slowing. They're not. We're just doing everything right. That's the tube. That's the tunnel. That's the 99%. That's where our focus should be. But this industry is constantly pulling us off path. It's constantly fighting for your time, fighting for your dollars, fighting for your attention, and distracting you from what is important. And whenever I get on this box or whenever I get on Instagram and say, hey, terkestrone's not fucking magic, and long length partials are not fucking magic, there's always blowback by the cultists that want to believe, right? They invested their time and their mental capacity and their energy and their money into this stuff. And there's always a new cycle and always a new crop, always a new batch of locksteppers. And this sounds cruel and insensitive, but look, I'm trying to get your heads out of your asses. Stop being that person. Sure, if you want to explore this stuff, great, but don't get off the 99% and don't get into the cult group that will just randomly go on social media. And when I mention testosterone, in 10 years, we're going to forget about it because it's just another distraction. Don't be part of the group that's like, it's the greatest thing ever, and I know a guy that knows a guy, right? I mean, that's not real, right? That's knowing a guy that knows a guy that says he got some benefit out of spending $60 on some crap fucking supplement that he doesn't want to admit is probably just another piece of crap in a long string of pieces of crap. Things like long link partials, big hairy ugly dude, you're not being scientific. Actually, if you look at the science, you can understand A, there's not a lot of research. B, the research that exists on long length partials shows that it really only works well for untrained individuals early in their training, right? It has a very short lifespan and it really only works for the untrained. But then if you're going to work the untrained, you're better off using conventional exercises and no specially long length partial reps on untrained individuals. Untrained individuals or noobs don't need that stuff. So all this hype, it's unfounded. It doesn't have scientific basis. It has a few studies, but it lacks a complete picture of the science. But that's really not the point. The point is really about the distractions. We're constantly being pulled, right? I'm not trying to slam anybody for reading an article on long length partials or watching a video on long length partials or watching a video on testosterone or buying some testosterone. I've done it myself, right? Not testosterone, because I've been around the block too many times, to get involved with something like that. But I've done all this stuff myself. You guys have to understand, like guys like myself and Sean Nalawani, James Tinivest, and the guys that I look up to, my peers that have character, they've been around the block many, many times. And we know enough, and this is the important point, we know enough that when the distraction of the day comes up, to keep our focus on the 99%. Yes, we're going to read the articles. Yes, we're going to look at it. But the problem is when this stuff comes up, it's accompanied by a huge amount of hype, overhype, big hype. The marching bands come out and the cheerleaders come out and the overhype and the words like science-based, science, just punching you in the face with science every 3 seconds because there was one study. These are red flags, right? No one that is science-based is going to, come out and say, hey, this is something different from the 99.99% of what we've been doing. This is something different. We're going to step out today and say this is science-based and this should command your attention. No, it should not. It's bullshit and it's new. We need to give it time. In the last 20 years, there have been few things that have come out of the blue that have been worth our attention. Very few things like creatine, for example. Very few things like creatine. And we've studied it endlessly and we know it has value. So the point is, as a community, when things come out at us, long length partials, testosterone, bullshit of the day, we're not just having a knee-jerk reaction and say, like some old man like Clint Eastwood sitting on the porch like, just ignore it, kid. I've been around the block 100 days and it's all bullshit. That's not what we're doing. We are smart enough to know that the 99% works. And when these things come out and all the fake influencer bullshit cheerleaders that are like science-based, right? And they're blowing the horns and the cheerleaders and the marching bands and they're telling you how it's a super effective and the game changer. They are lying to you. They are being deceptive. They are full of shit and they are stealing your time. They're being disingenuous. It's not genuine. It's not. Why do they do this? I have no fucking idea. But anybody that's been in this game long enough knows that we should be skeptical of anything new that comes along, because lifting's been lifting for 60, 70, 80, 90 years. It's the same shit. It's the same process. It's the same core pillars of success. That doesn't mean we're just being some stupid fucking hick, being dismissive of everything. But what it does mean is that when something new comes along, like long length partials or terkesterone, and you have the hype crew out there hyping it up, hyping it up, hyping it up, and they're creating this little army of cultists who, whenever you post on it on social media, they're attacking you. Like, you know, they're grabbing their pitchforks, and it's like a witch hunt. Go get him. He doesn't believe in the new thing of the day. Well, I don't believe in the fucking new thing of the day because it's just been it's been pushed by some disingenuous influencer who's calling it the second coming of creatine. And we all know the likelihood of that is absolutely small. So be smart, guys. Keep your focus on the 99%. We're not just going to be a knee-jerk idiots that are just going to say, let's just blow everything off. Read the information, listen to the information, but also listen to the hype. If the hype is strong, right? Out of the gate, when we don't have much science, when we don't have much information, you know it's not genuine hype. I don't like to name names, but there is one major science-based guy with over 1 million followers that is pushing this long-length partials, calling it something like the most wise or, incredible current intensity technique. How can you do that? How can you, after a couple of studies, knowing that long-length partials work best with the untrained for a limited amount of time, how can you come out on your science-based channel after just a little bit of research that doesn't even hint at what you're saying it hints at, and tell everybody it's the most wise or incredible intensity-based technique and it should be worthy of your consideration? That is such patent fucking nonsense. It is such an incredible, huge lie that you should be skeptical of this person. You should be skeptical when somebody comes out and says, there is no fucking way, folks, in my 38 years of fucking lifting, that something new is going to come along and I'm going to be such a fucking fool or asshole that I'm going to get on this channel and say, something new came along. It is the greatest intensity technique I've ever seen. Right? There's no way I would ever do that because I couldn't fucking sleep at night. But that's the industry we're in. And I'm not quoting this person exactly, but I have this quote on my social media. It's like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is the most important intensity technique. How can you fucking sleep at night? How can you say that with a base of 1 million people or more? How many of the fuck it is? How can you do that? That's the industry we're in, where you're waking up and you're asking yourself these questions. How can we do this? How can we do this? How can they do this to you guys? But they do, and they continue to do, and that's why we need to be skeptical. And the sun's going down, and I'm going to be turning black here in just a second and giving lights out. So that's enough for my rant for today. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.